The top of the hour it is. Thank you so much for joining us. This is K24 TV. My name is Samuel Njoroge, and our sign language interpreter for this hour will be Wagaki Muthoni. Let's take you straight to Nakuru County and bring in our reporter K24 Mwangi, who's joining us live from that region with an update as of now. Thank you so much, K24, for joining us. Kindly update us on what you've prepared for us this far.
Sam Njoroge, indeed, a good morning from Barnabas in Nakuru East constituency, Nakuru County. And I would also like to greet our very own Wagaki Muthoni, who is a sign language interpreter. Indeed, we are celebrating you today, having gone to school and studied some of the hardest things to do physically. We salute you very much, Wagaki. But now joining me are youths from the Barnabas area. Remember, we have been tackling issues to do with youth unemployment, insecurity, and also when it comes to development and infrastructure. And this area is one of the areas that people have been taking justice into their own hands, banning thieves, killing them, beating them, because insecurity is rampant in this area. Some of them saying they have been stolen, their shops broken into, and even some of them robbed of their property. What exactly are some of the sentiments that they have? Now joining me are some of these residents, especially youths, who are going to tell us exactly what they feel about the current governance, about the county government, the area MCA, the area MP, and what they would like to be assisted in doing. Karibu sana, na pengine utaanza kwa majina, uniambie wewe kama mkazi wa Barnabas ni yapi ambayo mnayapitia?
Thank you very much. Kwa majina naitwa Godfrey Wagitau. Eneo hili la Barnabas ni eneo ambalo liko na utajiri mwingi sana. Lakini ikikuja ni maneno ya maendeleo, tunaona kweli kabisa mwaka huu Barnabas imeingia msimu mwingine. Ikizingatiwa kuna mambo mengi ambayo tunasubiri katika eneo hili, kama moja hapo Nakuru ikikuja kuwa city. Hii ni baadhi ya mtaa ambao inaangaziwa sana, hasa tukiona kuna mambo kadhaa wa kadha ambao itaenda kuzinduliwa, kama vile tuko na mambo ya uwanja ya ndege ambao tunaogojea kuwa maeneo haya, lakini vile vile tunaona haitakuwa vizuri bila security. Eneo hili kulingana na investigation ambayo nimefanya kwa utafiti wangu, nimeona mambo ambayo inalete kudorora kwa usalama ni vijana ambao tuko nao kukosa kazi. Wanakosa kazi kwa nini? Hiyo ni jambo ambalo nimekuwa nikiwaza sana. Jambo ambalo nimeweza kuwaza na kufikiria sana ni mambo mbili au tatu ambao naweza sema haya. Eneo hili hukumbukwa sana ikifika ni siku ya siasa. Inaitwa Migingo, wenyeji wa hapa vijana wanaijua kama Migingo, ambapo vijana hukusanyika eneo ambao tuko hapa hivi, ndio inakuwa kituo moja, kuna kituo kingine ambao inakuwa mahala pale. Utapata wakati huo wanasiasa wako na umuhimu sana na eneo hili.
Pengine wakati wa siasa kuna zile mambo ambazo mliambiliwa na wanasiasa. Je, ni yepi na pengine nani ametimiza kati ya wale wote ambao mliwachagua?
There was very many promises like ndani ya hii eneo. Nikikumbuka vizuri swala la elimu ziko katika upande ya bunge. Mbunge ambaye alichaguliwa katika eneo la Gilgil aliweza kuambia wakazi wa maeneo haya ataweza wakitafuta uwanja wataweza kuanzisha shule, kwa sababu shule ambayo iko hapa hivi tunaona kuna nyingine iko Merugi, kuna nyingine iko eneo la Ngorika ndogo upande ile, na nyingine iko huko upande ya road.
Kwa ufupi unasema kwamba alisema kutatengenezwa shule lakini bado.
Hadi wa sasa hatujaona jambo lolote yamefanya, lakini tujui ni hadi siku gani atafanya hivyo, lakini siku hiyo tuidhani atafanya kesho.
Asante sana. Pengine babangu, unaweza kunieleza jina na ni yapi ambayo mlitegemea yatatendwa na bado hayajatendwa? Je, usalama uko sawa? Je, biashara ziko sawa? Je, masomo yako sawa?
Asante sana. Kwa majina yangu naitwa Erastus Maina Nyaitoga. Mimi ni mkaaji wa hii sehemu ya Barnabas. Na kwa kweli kuna mambo ambayo tulitarajia sana ambayo yaweze kuwa yametendeka wakati huu, ambako tuliomba ya kwamba tukabadilishiwa at least maisha yetu ikakuwa imeboreshwa, na sana ni mambo ya usalama. Tumekuwa na shida ya usalama katika sehemu hii kwa muda ambao tumekuwa nao, lakini kusema ukweli ni ile ambayo imefanya usalama uweze kudorora mahali hapa. Kunacho kikundi ambacho kilikuwa kinaangaisha watu upande wa Bondeni na Flamingo na huko, kilikuwa kinaitwa Confirm, na kuna gang nyingine ilikuwa inajiita Gaza. Na maaskari wakati wamefuruga hiyo sehemu, wengine wameanza kupata nafasi ya kuja kujificha sehemu kama hizi na sehemu ya pana mashini, na ikakuwa hata wa vijana wetu wa hapa ambao ni vijana wazuri wanapenda kufanya kazi wanakuwa mistaken. Wakati mmoja wao amekuja ameingia katikati ya hao wetu wachache, unakuta watu wetu wamekuja wameshikwa tu ovyo ovyo na wanaenda wanapelekwa kotini, whereas kuna wageni ambao pengine wamekuja wamejificha ndani yao. So upande wa usalama kwa sasa haiko mbaya sana, lakini bado ni mbaya. Tumenotice ya kwamba kuna ofisi ambayo imekuwa vandalized hapa chini, ofisi ambayo ilikuwa inajengewa ward admin, na kwa kweli imekuwa vandalized vitu ndani, na hawa watu ambao wamevandalize hizi properties ni hatuoni kama ni vijana wetu, lakini ile kitu tunakasirika ni kwamba police post iko tu hapo karibu, ni kama mita 50 kutoka pale ambao hiyo station iko. Kuna ingine pale pia ilikuwa vandalized hospitali. Pale Njoroge Karaoke hospitali ikakuwa vandalized. Vitu zilikuwa zimewekwa ndani, imejengwa, ikienda kuisha waizi wakakuja, na iko just next to the office of the chief's office. So hiyo ni kuonyesha kwamba kunazo jambo linafaa kuwa linafanyika. Kama maofisi za serikali zinaibwa next, sisi ambao ni wananchi wa kawaida tuko wapi?
Zungumza na viongozi wako ambao kwa sasa najua wanatazama K24, waeleze malilio yako na waeleze jinsi unataka maisha yako yawe. Vile naweza omba viongozi wetu ni kukumbuka mambo ya, ingawaje tume raise concern kuhusu mambo ya usalama, tunaambia viongozi wetu waweze kuongeza ngia. Najua kwamba saa hizi police service wameshikana MAP na hao polisi wengine, so tunatarajia watatoa ulinzi sababu hakuna ile utengamano. Mambo mengine ya soko ni ambao ni jambo ambao nimekuwa kuangalia hapa. Hii ni soko, hii ni kitu inafanyika kama soko, na ingine pale mtu wa kamera nafikiri alikuwa amechukua pale soko kwa barabara, kwa highway. Watu wa area hii umekuwa kidemand mambo ya kuwa na soko ambayo ni ya public, maana hii ni hatari sana kupata unaweza kuta mtu amegongwa kwa barabara hapa na gari ambayo iko highway. Hii ujue ni barabara ambayo inaitwa North Road. Hii imetoka South Africa mpaka wapi? Yes. Mpaka Congo. Na hapa watu wetu wako kwa barabara. Asante. Lakini kuna vile ambao tumeomba na waziri ambao ni waziri ambao anahusika na hii mambo ya lands and planning kutoka county government na trade, wametupromise ya kwamba kuna shamba liko mahali fulani, na ndio tunangoja hiyo barua. Amesema imeenda kwa NLC kumake sure kwamba hiyo shamba imepatikana na watu wetu waweze kupanda mahali ya kuuzia vitu zao. Asante. Same script, same cries, same promises, same youth, but different ranges of doing things. It is indeed a disheartening state of affairs from Barnabas. You can see, if my camera person John Wangombe can just show you how many people we can be able to have in just one presser, in just a simple presser. All these youths don't have a job. It is upon the leadership of this area, especially the county government, the MCA, also the MP, to come into the rescue of these people, because the more they stay without a job, the more they are becoming volatile, and the more they are going to be used by people who just want them to do anything with insecurity. My name is Kigodho Mwangi, and my camera person is John Wangombe. As we celebrate the sign language interpreters in this field, we celebrate our very own, and we tell them, we salute you. We will be right back with the day's brief as it happens, and at the end of the day we will be having our very own George Natembea, the regional commissioner, who will be giving us a brief of what is happening in the region. As I take you back to Shiksha Arora and Sam Njoroge.
Thank you so much, Kigodho Mwangi, for that update from Nakuru County. It's all about youth unemployment and the rate of development in Nakuru, and he's sampling views from a section of the youth in that area. Now, I would like to take you to Kisumu County and bring in our reporter Baraka Karama, and this time around he has an update for us in as far as the ongoing audit on infrastructure in schools across the country is concerned. He will be engaging a stakeholder who operates within the private education sector. And here now is Baraka Karama with that and much more from Kisumu. Baraka?
Well, Samuel, right now I'm not engaging the stakeholder of education like I mentioned. In fact, we're supposed to be engaging him in some around 10:30. But where I am now is, you remember I had given my brief earlier where a group of youths are supposed to hold a demonstration along the streets of Kisumu in relation to the pollution of Kibos River. Remember, there's been an issue at the Kibos Sugar Factory, like I mentioned to you earlier. And right now, they're supposed to demonstrate from the Nairobi Kisumu highway, and they're supposed to head to the Kisumu County Assembly, where they're supposed to present a petition to the County Assembly of Kisumu in relation to the pollution of River Kibos. Remember, there's been an issue where we saw Kibos Sugar Factory being closed by the Kisumu court, and after that, of course, they did go to the Supreme Court, where the decision of the closure was quashed by the Apex Court, and as we speak right now, the sugar factory is in operation, and that is the main reason why the youths again say that they are protesting in regards to that particular issue. Just allow me to get reactions and comments from the human rights activists here in Kisumu who are demonstrating in relation to that particular issue. Just welcome. Of course, okay, first introduce yourself, and we'd like to know the reason why you are holding this particular demonstration here in Kisumu today, and maybe what you intend to achieve.
My name is Collins Kodek. I'm a human rights activist based in Kisumu. Today is very important for us as people who stay in Kisumu and who are affected by the pollution of River Kibos. We are holding this demonstration as a protest to show that we are tired with what is going on in River Kibos, that livelihoods and livestock are being affected by this river, that court orders have been disobeyed, that the company has not taken enough measures as have been proposed, and that the people in power at the county assembly, at the county government, and even at the national level are sleeping on their jobs, and we want this matter sorted now. Yes, that is
last week we saw members of parliament, the Committee of Education, visiting that particular factory and the institution that is directly opposite. Yes. What is your take about that? Do you think it was a PR gimmick?
Definitely it was a PR gimmick, because all reports from NEMA have indicated that the waste from Kibos are affecting people's lives. And if that is so, the only thing that we expect is for the company to take right measures to correct this mess. And you're saying that people who are responsible for quality assurance at the county level should be held liable. And we demand compensation for lives that have been lost, for people who are suffering conditions attributed to the pollution in this river. Importantly, we are saying that if these measures cannot be put in place, then the factory could as well as close its shop as today. Yes. And we are saying that we are tired of gimmicks, and we know that the company has bought a lot of people in leadership to speak contrary to what we are saying. But we are people, we are residents, we are locals, we are people who use River Kibos, we are being affected, and we do not, a time has reached where if we do not speak for ourselves, then we are getting into extinction.
Okay, you want to petition the county assembly as per your demonstration.
Yes.
What do you intend to achieve?
We are wondering why in all these years of protest, the county assembly has not brought a motion to discuss the matters Kibos pollution. Yes. Yet Kibos is within Kisumu County. Then we begin to questioning with the position of the county assembly and their interest. Are they serving the people's interest or serving the company's interest? Are they with us or against us? Why is it so difficult to discuss this matter? Why is it so difficult for members of the county assembly to add their voice? Why are they not here if they are our representatives? If they speak our voice, then they should be here speaking with us. And that is the concern that we have. We are saying enough is enough. The people who we have entrusted with power to speak on our behalf are sleeping with the oppressor and are oppressors themselves. So we are tired. Yes.
Okay, maybe if I can just get one more comment. What is your reaction in relation to the issue of River Kibos as one of the human rights activists?
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Brian Jobita. I am a resident of Nyalenda. Actually, Our biggest disappointment into this our movement are the political leaders.
Yes.
If you look at one of the banners there,
Yes.
there we have said that our leaders should stop being sugary. In that whenever we hold a demonstration like this one, the political class, or rather our elected leaders, they go back behind our back, they go back to the factory owners, and we hear they are normally being given sugar.
You have evidence?
We actually don't have evidence, but their actions prove otherwise. Because wanasema pasipa penye moshi kuna moto. So that's why this time round we have decided not to involve the leaders. We want to do it ourselves. And actually what is happening today is a beginning of a social movement, actually non-violent, where after we present our petition to the assembly, we want to stage sit-ins at the Kibos Sugar Factory. We want to stage sit-ins at the MCA, at the assembly, until something is done about Kibos. So we are not going to eat, we are not going to sleep, we will stay there at the factory until something is done. Thank you very much.
Samuel, the group of the human rights activists are still converging here, where they expect to march along the streets of Kisumu and later on present a petition to the County Assembly of Kisumu in relation to the pollution of River Kibos. Like I mentioned earlier, it's been a very big issue in this part of the region. And just last week we saw members of the parliament, the education committee led by the Tinderet MP Julius Mele visiting that particular factory. And of course, we also saw them getting views and reactions from the stakeholders of Kibos School for the Blind. That is directly opposite Kibos Sugar Factory in relation to the problems and of course the cry that has seen the stakeholders and parents making that passionate appeal to the Ministry of Education to move up with speed to ensure that the plight of the students is looked into. So we'll be following up on them as they move along the streets of Kisumu and as they petition the County Assembly of Kisumu in relation to the pollution of River Kibos. So we'll be able to give you an up-to-date information as far as this particular story is concerned. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Baraka Karama, for that update live from Kisumu. You did promise that later on in the course of the show, we will be engaging him and you'll be in a position to tell us what he's been able to gather in as far as the ongoing infrastructure audit on all primary schools is concerned. However, right now, let's bring you up to date with the local updates where Safaricom shops will no longer accept the old 1,000 shillings note starting Friday. A statement from the mobile telco said the last day to collect the old currency is today. Safaricom joins other organizations that have already given deadlines this week ahead of the official October 1st date from the Central Bank of Kenya. Naivas Supermarket has issued a deadline of Sunday, September 30th. The company says the move is a precaution as Kenyans are known to wait until the last minute. Now, Kenyans remain more optimistic, courtesy of a new survey that has found that more Kenyans consider themselves optimists compared to citizens of other major African economies. The Global Optimism Outlook survey found that 70% of Kenyans view themselves as optimists, above the global average of 56% and the continental average of 64%. Commissioned by Expo 2020 Dubai and conducted by YouGov, the Global Optimism Outlook survey tracked people's priorities for the future, looking at sustainability, economic growth, technology, travel, and more. Kenyans' optimism about the future has been linked to, among other factors, new opportunities being created by a thriving digital economy landscape, decentralized system of government, and a continued uplift in socio-economic conditions across the country. Right, let's move on to the international scene where dozens of construction workers are feared trapped beneath rubble after a building collapsed in Sierra Leone's second largest city of Bo. The builders were working on the 3-story block when it collapsed on Wednesday, and the police chief in southeastern Sierra Leone said 82 people had reported for work to concrete the 3rd floor of the building. The police commander said 8 people had so far been rescued and taken to hospital for treatment. Now, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex on Wednesday took their 4-month-old son Archie to meet Desmond Tutu in Cape Town, the royal baby's first public outing since his birth in May. To the delight of royal watchers, Prince Harry and his wife Meghan walked into the Desmond and Leah Tutu Legacy Foundation carrying a smiley Archie in blue dungarees, and the family touched down in Cape Town on Monday for a 10-day trip in South Africa and other countries in the region. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been asked to form the country's next government by President Reuven Rivlin. It comes after Netanyahu and his main opponent in the recent general election, Benny Gantz, failed to agree on a deal for a unity government. Last week's general election, the second this year, ended in deadlock. Gantz' Blue and White Alliance won 33 seats, while Netanyahu's Likud Party won 32 in the 120-seat Knesset. Now, Netanyahu has up to 6 weeks to try and put together a government. Rivlin has said he will do everything he can to avoid a 3rd general election this year. Now, abortion has been decriminalized across Australia after the last remaining state where it was illegal, New South Wales, voted to reform its laws. The bill passed on Thursday overturns an 119-year-old law which had been criticized by opponents as archaic. The legislation had generated weeks of heated debate and deeply divided the state's conservative government. Previously, abortions were possible in the NSW only if a doctor deemed there was a serious risk to a woman's health. And just a recap to some of the stories that keep informing our news angle in as far as various news items are concerned, and the move by Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko to suspend his blue-eyed County Executive, that is Charles Kerich, among other top officials, has now exposed what observers describe as the most unstable executive in the country, beset by confusion and unpredictability. Wednesday's suspensions by the governor, citing negligence by his officers in the Precious Talents Academy tragedy, highlights the litany of woes that have turned City Hall into a madhouse while exposing Sonko's unconventional management style. Here is K24's Apollo Kamau with that report.
Never shying away from the limelight, City Hall and its top occupant, Nairobi Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko, are at it again. In what has become a norm in his management style, the city father's executive order to suspend his Mr. Fix-It and county executive in charge of finance, Charles Kerich, Mohamed Dagani of health, among other officials in the planning department, has once again exposed an air of uncertainty where an unstable cabinet and an unpredictable governor are the order of the day. Questions on whether the latest suspensions are linked to Precious Talents Academy tragedy alone, or a diversionary tactic from the corruption wars facing the governor at the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission EACC, still abound on a governor who has instilled fear among his staff due to his erratic nature when making important decisions. Dr. Karuti Kanyinga, a professor of development studies at the University of Nairobi, says, and I quote, "It's a mixture of many things. Nairobi County is one of the most unstable at the executive level because of shuffling of staff and infights. But at the same time, if you look at the tragedy, one can see where he's coming from. But it does not exonerate the fact that the county is unstable. End of quote. Since the exit of his deputy Polycarp Igade, who quit in January 2018, the governor has been working without a deputy governor. An attempt to appoint Miguna was thwarted by the county assembly. The resignation of former Education CEC Janet Ouko, citing difficult working relations with the governor a year later, has seen Sonko accused of sidelining his CECs and chief officers, instead preferring to use political allies and power brokers to run county affairs. Since he took over as governor, Sonko has reshuffled his cabinet 6 times. In March this year, he reshuffled the cabinet after operating with a cabinet of 5, while awaiting the approval and eventual swearing in of the remaining 3, making up a cabinet of 8. The governor, who is away in New York, has been operating outside office since he appeared before the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission EACC, saying he does not want to interfere with investigations.
Again, that story has generated a lot of debate, especially online. Kenyans going to Twitter, Facebook, and other social media platforms to just express themselves when it comes to the manner through which the Nairobi County Governor is running affairs at City Hall. And just to sample your feedback in as far as that issue is concerned, here is my co-anchor Shiksha Arora, who's standing by to do exactly that.
Right, of course, and just as Sam has said, we're going to be taking you through the top tweets and what you've been saying on social media. Remember, the hashtag is K24 Daily Brief. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter at K24 TV. Interact with us and tell us your views on what we are covering right here on the Daily Brief. And we're going to start off with what's happening on Facebook and Twitter. Of course, Twitter is what we'll be sampling first. Right here, we've got one from @o_abuga, who goes on to say that Sonko is causing unnecessary phobia amongst his political appointees. Suspending 16 people over a tragedy caused by failure by some few departments is ill-informed and myopic. And moving on to the next one, we've got one from Hudhaifa_254, who says that Sonko suspends Justice Kathenge, County Chief Officer for Urban Planning, who was already on suspension. Hapa tunasema Sonko can't even feature kwa list ya ignorant leaders. He is far gone. Moving on, we've got one more there from @Nasir Kenya, who says, if only Uhuru could borrow a leaf or two from Sonko, maybe fight against corruption would stand a chance. People should always be held accountable. And moving on, we've got yet another one that's from @Madagascar, who says, a brave governor would have sacked them. The plot has always been to suspend them. Then when the dust settles you, sneak them back one by one. All right, we've got one there from @Totoman, who says that good step, but don't stop there, Governor Sonko. Liaise with central government to inspect all the structures within the city. Prevention is better than cure, so they say. And that's not the only person. He isn't the only person who said that prevention is far better than cure. So a lot of you are saying the same thing. We've got another one here that says, this is Kenya, where leaders act only after a tragedy has occurred. Not surprised. And the last one here from Nicole Joanne 254, who says, suspend? The lives of these kids were not suspended. They were terminated. People should pack and go home. This kind of negligence is unacceptable. All right, that's what you've been saying on social media. Keep interacting with us and we'll definitely be airing some of your views later on in the show. But for now, it's time for a short break.